Hi and welcome to my first YouTube video. And Deandre Hopkins has been traded to the Arizona Cardinals from the Houston Texans. And there are a couple things I'd like to talk about. So the Texans will get David Johnson, a 2020 second round pick. And the Cardinals get DeAndre Hopkins in a 2021 fourth round pick. The first thing I want to talk about is the relationship, not the relationship, but the duo of Larry Fitzgerald and DeAndre Hopkins, and Larry Fitzgerald possibly this might be his last year in the NFL. That would be a good duo if Larry Fitz was still in his prime. But yeah, I think it will help out Kyler Murray a lot. And Kyler Murray is a player a lot like Deshaun Watson because he can scramble and back around there in the pocket and get out of the pocket if he needs to. He's fast, he's tiny, and both teams did not have the best offensive lines. So I think DeAndre Hopkins is going to help out Kyler Murray a lot if they draft some good alignment or pick some up in free agency. DeAndre Hopkins' stats are very different from David Johnson's. He's basically a nobody right now. He had a really good year in 2016. So I'm gonna go through DeAndre Hopkins' stats first. I'm gonna start at his rookie year and go to the most recent years. So his first year in 2013, he had 52 catches for 802 yards, and he averaged 15 yards per reception. And his longest reception was 66, but he only had 2 touchdowns. And he didn't run the ball. So in 2014, he had 76 catches, and he improved a lot this year. And he had 1,200 yards, and he averaged 16 yards a reception, and his longest catch was 76 and 6 touchdowns. So if you look at the stats from these 2 years, he improved a lot over the course of that. In 2015, he had a very good year, 111 catches for 1,500 yards, and he averaged 14 yards per reception. So the average per reception goes down a tiny bit, but he still had that doesn't really matter because when you have 1,500 yards, it's yeah. And then in 2016, his production went down. He might have gotten injured, I'm not sure. I don't think he did, though. His production just went down. He had 78 catches for 954 yards, and he averaged 12 yards, so that was a bit of a down year. And his longest reception was 51 yards, and he had 4 touchdowns. In 2017, he had 96 receptions for 1,378 yards, and he averaged 14 yards per reception, and his longest was 72. His longest reception was 72 yards and 13 touchdowns. That was a really good year. And then this is his career year in terms of yardage and catches. He had 115 receptions, 1,572 yards, and he averaged 14 yards per reception. And his longest reception was 49 yards, and he had 11 touchdowns. Now this past year, he had 104 catches for 1,165 yards, and he averaged 11 yards per reception, and his longest reception was 43 yards, and he had 7 touchdowns, so it seems pretty good. He ran the ball twice, two attempts for 18 yards. Yeah, but he also ran the ball once in 2018 for -7 yards. Yeah. Okay, now we're gonna look at David Johnson's stats. So, in 2015, David Johnson's rookie year, he had 125 carries for 581 yards, averaged 4.6 yards a carry, and he had 8 TDs. But this year, in 2016, that I'm about to talk about was insane, but he's just fallen off. In 2016, he had 293 carries for 1,200 yards and 16 touchdowns. He averaged 4.2 yards a carry. And then in 2017, he started to fall off. He got injured, and he only had 11 carries for 23 yards, no touchdowns. So yeah, and then and then in 2018, people he was just bouncing back from the injury. He was almost an 1,000-yard rusher. He got 7 touchdowns. And then this year, other than the year he got injured, was a career low for him. He only had 345 yards. I don't think that Cliff Kingsbury really liked him as a player. I don't know if they had a really good relationship or not. But yeah, Kenyon Drake, the Cardinals are set with Kenyon Drake for now, and this receiving core for Kyler Murray next year is going to be deadly, with Larry Deandre Hopkins, and Christian Kirk too. So when Larry Fitzgerald retires, Christian Kirk is going to step in for him, and Kenyon Drake can also catch the football too. But they don't really have a good tight end. So thank you for watching to the end. And this was my first YouTube video, and I hope you enjoyed. And make sure to drop a like and subscribe. And bye.